Hey, what's up guys? I'm Jared Poirier, and welcome to my movie review show where I talk about movies. But on today's show, I'm wearing a cowboy hat because this is a Wild West review. That's right guys, on today's show, we're reviewing The Lone Ranger. That's right guys, on today's show, we're reviewing Toy Story 2. That's right guys, on today's show, we're reviewing Brokeback Mountain. Actually, all those ones are fake. We're reviewing Django Unchained. So, Django Unchained is a movie that I've actually seen a few times now, although I did rewatch it recently in preparation for this review. Obviously, I'm a fan of many of Quentin Tarantino's movies. I really enjoy the Kill Bill films. Pulp Fiction's pretty fun. I really love Inglourious Bastards. And I even like some of his movies that are less well known and less appreciated. I actually thought that Death Proof, a movie that he considers his worst, was a pretty fun movie overall. And going into Django Unchained here, this is actually a really controversial movie, and of course it is. Tarantino is no stranger to controversy, and although this movie deals with the very serious topic of slavery in America, Tarantino's B-movie ultra-violent style is all over this one. So let's get right into it guys. Here's my review of Django Unchained. So Django Unchained is an incredibly violent movie with a lot of N-words, but it has a lot of other interesting qualities as well. For instance, it has really good acting. Everybody in this movie puts on a good performance, but for me, Christoph Waltz really stole the show. Waltz really disappears into this role, and I thought that his character, Dr. Schultz, was actually the best character in the movie. Jamie Foxx's performance is a little more understated. He doesn't have an extensive amount of dialogue throughout the bulk of this film, and he communicates most of his emotion through facial features and body language. Although he does come into his own towards the end of the movie when his character comes to the forefront of this film. Of course, Samuel L. Jackson is really good in this. Samuel L. Jackson is good in pretty much anything. He's awesome. But here he plays this Uncle Tom character, and he's a very good villain. I also really enjoyed Kerry Washington's acting in this. For reasons that I can't really go into without spoiling, her character is trying to stifle her emotions throughout a lot of this movie, but the script also gives her some moments to showcase some really intense acting and some really intense emotion. I thought that DiCaprio was pretty good in this as well. Pretty interesting performance from him. This character is very angry and intimidating, but I didn't feel that DiCaprio embodied this character nearly as well as Christoph Waltz embodies his character. And just a quick criticism before we leave the character section here. There is a character in this movie that is played by Quentin Tarantino. I usually like when he has cameos in his own movies. Usually it's kind of a small role, and it doesn't bother me too much. But here I think he gave himself a little bit too much of an extensive role, and the fact that he's not really a great actor, although he is a great director, kind of shines through here. But other than that, I pretty much found the characters spot on. So let's talk a little bit about the plot here, because I actually found that the plot in Django Unchained is constructed in a very interesting way. Rather than having like a linear plot where the characters just have one goal that they're trying to achieve the entire movie, this movie actually has like an episodic plot. So we have Django escaping slavery, then we have Django meeting Dr. Schultz, then we have Django becoming a bounty hunter, and then finally we have Django trying to rescue his wife. As these characters move through the story and develop, the audience actually feels a sense of accomplishment along with them. I also wanted to talk a little bit about the effects in Django Unchained, and these effects are pretty awesome. I believe that all the effects here are done in camera. I don't think that there is any CGI at all. The blood effects in this movie are way over the top. I mean, I wouldn't say that they're realistic because there's just like way too much blood, but they are really, really well done. And Tarantino, of course, is using squibs here. Man, what else should I talk about? There's just so many good things about this movie. Let's talk a little bit about the cinematography. There is some incredibly interesting camera work that's done in this movie. Zooms are used really effectively to help convey the emotions of characters. And there is one scene that just has like ridiculous camera work where Samuel L. Jackson walks through the kitchen and into the dining room, and the camera actually follows him the whole way through in one motion. And they must have had to actually cut into the wall to get the camera to move that way. But I thought that it was amazingly well done and very effective. Another really awesome thing about this movie is all of the great music in Django Unchained. This is something that I really love in movies. I wish more movies had their own theme song. Django, Django. It's so great. There's also a Rick Ross song, 100 Black Coffins. Not the best song, but used really well in this movie. And I actually found out while researching for this review that Frank Ocean composed an original song for this film as well. And although Tarantino did really like the song, he couldn't really find a way to fit it into the movie. But that song is called Wiseman, and it's on YouTube if you want to check it out. So there's just a couple more things that I want to talk about before I close this review, and one of them is the questionable morality of this movie. And although I do really love Tarantino's movies, and I do really respect him as a filmmaker, but sometimes I can't help feeling, while watching his movies, that the stuff that happens in his film is just an excuse for a whole lot of gory violence. I think that most of the time, the violence in his movies really is utilized to suit the story. But you know what I mean, guys. Sometimes you just get the feeling that this guy really likes a lot of grotesque violence in his movies. The other thing that's a little bit questionable about the morality in this movie is that Django actually has to do a lot of immoral things, or at least stand by while a lot of immoral things are happening in order to achieve his final goal, which is, of course, getting his wife back. But in doing so, there's a lot of immoral things that he allows to happen, and a lot of atrocities that he doesn't stop. So I find that aspect of the movie a little bit problematic, but it's at least something to think about. But yeah, guys, that's just about it for my criticisms of Django Unchained. Overall, I really enjoyed this movie. I thought that it was an incredibly well-crafted film. The acting's great, the music's great, the cinematography is great, and the plot is constructed in a really interesting way that even though I've seen this movie multiple times, I'm still invested the entire way through each time I watch it. So if you love really skillful, great filmmaking, and you can stomach a bit of violence and some moral ambiguity in your movies, then I think that you're really gonna love Django Unchained. I highly recommend it. But yeah, guys, that's gonna be it for this review. I hope you guys enjoy watching it as much as I enjoyed making it. Don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell. Follow me at Jared R. Poirier on all the bullshits. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I love you guys, and I will see you guys next time. Alright, so we're doing the good YouTuber shout out. And today we're shouting out Garrison Newkirk over on Mr. Garrison Reviews. So Garrison has a super awesome YouTube channel. He's a super hilarious guy, incredibly entertaining to watch. I really recommend his channel. Garrison has a lot of really interesting opinions on movies, music, all types of topics. And he also does incredibly funny live streams. I really recommend that you check those out as well. So yeah, guys, go over to Mr. Garrison Reviews, subscribe to his channel, give his videos a like, tell him I sent ya, and I'll see you guys next time.